Good morning. This is a hate website, ironically called Resisting Hate. Like Antifa being complete Nazis, this is a hate website closely associated with Report Britain First and Golding Hunter on Facebook. They mass report, MRBF, is it? Mass Reporting of Britain First. This is how they managed to get a hold on the social media, because there's lots of this people from this certain ideology work in this field. I mean, they're pretty useless at most things, people from the Middle East and the Far East, but they are quite good at media. Give them all credit. Yeah, here are the up-to-date list of hate groups here. If you want to look, this will include anyone who is against anti-Semitic, anti-British Army Jeremy Corbyn, who, as we know, is grossly anti-Semitic, because the Labour Party is being packed. These dark-skinned people who follow this ancient, bestial, warlike ideology are being dragged into the Labour Party, even if they can't even read or write, they're still dragging them in. I've not heard of most of them. Alex Jones, obviously, he's conservative. He knows the truth about this bestial, mass slave-dealing ideology. Anne-Marie Waters, who's ex-Labour Party. Avi Yamini, well, no surprise there. He openly admits he's Jewish and an Israel supporter, so he's going to be hated, isn't he? The whole Labour Party's packed with it. Brittany Pettibone, good God. What the hell has she got to do with hate? What, because she dares be brave and walk into Islamic ghettos? Oh, what's it? Oh, that looks familiar. Blue Hunt Bond. I wonder who that could be. Who could that be? Oh, who's this? Oh. Blue Hunt. No. I don't think that's me. I've seen him on Twitter, actually, that guy. Yeah. Christina Bale. Oh, David Vance, my God. And of course, Donald Trump. Yeah. Duly elected, democratically elected leader of the most powerful country in the world, Donald Trump, is listed on a group of haters. Well, they are anti-democratic, these people. We know they only have to pass 55% to get through university. And I bet this Bernard guy, this cockWomble, this stuttering wimp of a man, I bet he only got past about 60%. I bet he just scraped through. David Coburn, Ezra Levant. I mean, good heavens. Ezra Levant, such a gentleman like that. Full believer in democracy and Canadian free speech. Gerard Batten. Oh my God, you might guess he'd be there. Yeah. Jolene Bunting. Oh, well, this goes on. But this guy goes dressing people up in armbands and what have you on YouTube, and that's perfectly alright, isn't it? Encouraging attacks and getting people acid attacks and bombings on Tomny Robinson and stabbings on Jada Franson and Paul Golding. That's perfectly alright, isn't it? Oh, nothing wrong with that, is there? Jim Dowson, anti-abortion advocate, used to be connected with the BNP. Katie Hopkins here, another Jew, you see. This is how anti-Semitic they are. Anyone that dares to speak the truth of this warlike ideology, I don't see any mention of these racist... Paul Watson, oh my God. I don't see any real mention of these mass racist grooming gangs all over the UK. And there's thousands of them. There's so many, it's become embarrassing. They're actually hiding them now from the media. The judges aren't allowing reporting restrictions since Tommy was falsely charged and thrown in jail and duly released. Yes, there's thousands and thousands have gone to jail. I mean, they've ignored it for 12, 20, 30 years. I saw this grooming going on not a mile and a half from where I'm sat. I mean, these are a lot of the cases. There we are, Quilliam, even Quilliam turned around and said, on their stats, they ignored some of the blacks, on their stats, 84% of grooming paedophile gangs belong to this ideology. It was pages and pages and pages of them. But there's no mention on Resisting Hate about this, or the Manchester murder of 23 innocent girls. I mean, there's no mention at all. All we go on about here is, oh yes, we know this ideology is perfect for all mankind. Oh yes, it's so beautiful and wonderful. When that 7th century guy was slitting people's throats and kicking them into trenches, which it says in their holy book. It says in the holy book he did this. So, you know, this guy must have heard about it at least. So he's basically he's a complete liar. Absolute jihadist liar. Pro-jihadist anyway. Victims. I mean, you can look for yourself. There's thousands and thousands of terrorist attacks around the world which are led by a certain ideology which tells them they are a master race, which tells them we are dirty kafir, we are scum. We, including him in his Audi and his nice little house in you know, northern England, even he is a dirty worm as far as this ideology is concerned. Here we are, all these poor people blown to bits, including an 8-year-old, as we know. You know, Safi Rose Roussos, damn shame. All these poor innocent people, and President Trump called this a barbaric attack on our civilization. We never see any mention on this guy's pathetic website. He's improved it a little bit, to be honest. It's not as good as the websites I've had in the past. Most wanted. Our networks. Here we are. This should mention. Oh yeah, here we are. Mock the rights. Here we are. This is proof. I've got a picture of them somewhere. Here we are. There we are. Cock one, but useless, bumbling. You know, is it really nice swearing like that? F-wit. I mean, you're pathetic, man. Oh my God, he's even had a go at me. Mock the rights. It's all basically shouts racist, shouts, you know, Islamophobe, shouts hater, everybody. But they're the worst haters in the world. Here we are. You know, dresses people up with Nazi uniforms and Nazi armbands. But he's an absolute Nazi. He's this classist as well. I've had dealings with these people on Facebook, and they're absolute classists. They can't wait to show off about, oh, I've been to university. Oh, you can't read it. You don't check your English like I do. You know, I teach the children an absolute pile of bullshit about the Crusades and about history and about it. We can't criticise these mass rape gangs, can we? Because they're all beautiful people, aren't they? They're all gentle. They follow their prophet. Well, they do kind of, because he was a pervert as well. They hold him in high regard because apparently in their book, this 50-odd-year-old man had the virility of 30 men. Well, sure, I think you're kidding yourselves. And he claimed that Aisha, his 6-year-old wife, yes, his 6-year-old wife, lived in his house for 3 years without him touching her. Yeah, I think we all believe that, don't we? Oh, you bloody idiots. When it states in their unholy book, he had 66 sex slaves, how he attacked little boys' bottoms, how he'd been caught by his friends walking in, getting a BJ off little Hassan and Hussein, and you think he didn't touch Aisha for 3 years living in his house? He must have been a very small man to manage to really rape all these poor little kids. Anyway, he was a disgusting individual, basically. I'm not wasting any more time on this idiot. He's had a go at me as well. Yeah, if I ever see him, well, I'll tell him what I think about him, put it that way, in no uncertain fashion. Okay, see you guys, bye-bye.
I'm honored to be here with members of an alliance that has promoted safety and peace across the world. Prime Minister May, all of the nations here today grieve with you and stand with you. I would like to ask that we now observe a moment of silence for the victims and families of the savage attack which took place in Manchester. Thank you. Terrible thing. This ceremony is a day for both remembrance and resolve. We remember and mourn those nearly 3,000 innocent people who were brutally murdered by terrorists on September 11th, 2001. Our NATO allies responded swiftly and decisively, invoking for the first time in its history the Article 5 collective defense commitments. The recent attack on Manchester in the United Kingdom demonstrates the depths of the evil we face with terrorism. Innocent little girls and so many others were horribly murdered and badly injured while attending a concert. Beautiful lives with so much great potential, torn from their families forever and ever. It was a barbaric and vicious attack upon our civilization. All people who cherish life must unite in finding, exposing, and removing these killers and extremists. And yes, losers. They are losers. Wherever they exist in our societies, we must drive them out and never, ever let them back in. This call for driving out terrorism is a message I took to a historic gathering of Arab and Muslim leaders across the region, hosted by Saudi Arabia. There I spent much time with King Solomon, a wise man who wants to see things get much better rapidly. The leaders of the Middle East have agreed at this unprecedented meeting to stop funding the radical ideology that leads to this horrible terrorism all over the globe. My travels and meetings have given me renewed hope that nations of many faiths can unite to defeat terrorism, a common threat to all of humanity. Terrorism must be stopped in its tracks, or the horror you saw in Manchester and so many other places will continue forever. You have thousands and thousands of people pouring into our various countries and spreading throughout. And in many cases, we have no idea who they are. We must be tough, we must be strong, and we must be vigilant. The NATO of the future must include a great focus on terrorism and immigration, as well as threats from Russia and on NATO's eastern and southern borders. These grave security concerns are the same reason that I have been very, very direct with Secretary Stoltenberg and members of the alliance in saying that NATO members must finally contribute their fair share and meet their financial obligations. But 23 of the 28 member nations are still not paying what they should be paying and what they are supposed to be paying for their defense. This is not fair to the people and taxpayers of the United States. And many of these nations owe massive amounts of money from past years and not paying in those past years. Over the last 8 years, the United States spent more on defense than all other NATO countries combined. If all NATO members had spent just 2% of their GDP on defense last year, we would have had another $119 billion for our collective defense and for the financing of additional NATO reserves.